Welcome to today's edition of Mental Health Matters. Today I have Toni Morgan on the show. She's going to give us tips and walk us through the first time home buying process. Get you something to drink and get you a snack and come on back. Good morning, Toni. How are you doing this morning?
I'm doing great, Jesse. How are you?
I am doing great. Well, tired. I didn't get much sleep last night, but we got the 3-day weekend, so I'm gonna do a lot of relaxing.
Yeah, I don't have those, so that must be really nice.
Yeah, I know. So first, I want to thank you for agreeing to come on the show and talk about real estate and the first time home buying. I think this is really needed. I have not did a show like this before. So when I found out that she was a real estate agent, I was like, oh, okay. We contacted, then I thought about, well, maybe have her on the show so she can kind of walk us through the process. So
Awesome.
yes, let's start off with you just introducing yourself and we'll just go from there.
Okay, so my name is Toni Morgan. I am a realtor here, licensed in California. I have been doing this for about 6 months now, and I left the big corporate world and started this, and it's awesome.
Nice, nice. Toni, so well, I was just telling the people who's behind the scene, I was telling them how we used to work together and how you was a really good employee.
Well,
And
thank you.
also, you were, but I was also telling how you are a really good real estate agent because your personality, you're outgoing, you know how to connect with people, and you got a lot of great qualities. So when I learned that you was doing this, I knew this was a really, really, really good fit for you.
Well, thank you.
Yes. So what made you want to get into real estate?
So when I was actually in the military, I signed up for real estate classes. And then we had a surprise deployment sprung on us. So I had to drop all classes because I was deploying and we don't have that kind of time in the job that I was doing there. So I got out, I used my GI benefits, I did all the things. And then I was working at our previous company and I was helping people that were homeless. I did that for 4.5 years. I housed over 620 individuals. And then I decided that I wanted to help, like my ultimate goal is to own a house in every state. And so when I was helping these individuals that were homeless, that was fantastic, get them on the right path. But after 6 months, I kind of, I had to stop following them, like making sure they were housed. And I would love to see more people be homeowners.
Yes.
So I was like, I'm just going to go to real estate school and I'm going to do it part-time to start. And then that completely changed. But I was like, I'm just going to do this part-time to start to see what happens. And now I'm here.
Yes. Awesome. Awesome. So how was taking the test?
So I signed up in March of last year. I signed up for the self-paced classes because I was a full-time employee and I, had to do that. And then like most people in America, I had a side hustle.
Yeah.
So I actually babysit kids with autism on the side. And so I was doing that, like I was working 40 hours a week and then I was doing that 20 hours a week. So I was really packed. I didn't have time to go to classes. So I did that. It's supposed to only take 6 months. for the self-paced class. I, however, ended up in June completely tearing every ligament in my knee.
Wow.
So I, was on medication and could not focus on studying for a couple of months. So then I ended up doing all the classes because I had to take that time off. I did all the classes. And then they say the test is extremely hard, which is not a lie. It's super hard. But as long as you're studying, and I teamed up with another real estate agent, and I was like, help me, I need to know more information. So they gave me tips and tricks. And then I ended up taking it in November of last year. And I passed on my first try, luckily.
Nice.
And everyone's biggest fear is the math. So the
Yeah.
California state exam, there's no math at
Good.
all. Which personally I was a little disappointed because I'm really good at math.
Uh-huh.
And so I was a little upset that that wasn't a thing. But it's mainly key terms. So flashcards were a big help for me.
Yeah. So your classes was online. Do you feel that the approach you took was beneficial for you, of course, but do you feel like for those who are thinking about getting into real estate and they want to enroll in a real estate class, do you feel like that is an appropriate route to go for them?
Absolutely. Because like I said, everyone has a side hustle, which means everyone has a main hustle too. So we all work, we all have things to do. We all, have family, friends, loved ones that, mental health is a requirement.
Yeah.
So we have to do that first. And then I would personally get up at 6 a.m. I would get up at 4 a.m. because I would start getting ready for work at 6. And so I'd get up and I would have 2 hours where no one's texting me, no one's calling me, no one's posting on Facebook, no one's doing any of that. So I could just study for real estate. I have another one of my actually previous coworkers from our previous company that's getting her license now. And
Nice.
so I sent her to the same company, the same online service I use. I sent her the flashcards I use because I used them. They're public, and I made a Quizlet account, which really works because you have it on your phone. So everyone, when they're standing in line at the grocery store, plays on Facebook. Well, so when I was studying, I would start quizzing myself instead of Facebook, like things like that. It's just little behaviors. But if you, let's say, are 18 and your family's still paying for all your stuff, then you can go to in-person classes.
Yeah.
The problem is the classes only teach you legal things.
Yeah.
They don't teach you marketing. They don't teach you, you scan the buying process, but um, it's not tested upon.
Yeah.
It doesn't teach you how to pick the appropriate broker for you as a new agent. It tells you, oh, this is how you pick a broker, but it doesn't say, like, for me, I picked a broker that does 11 training classes and teams me with a mentor. And so my mentor and I sit down once a week and we discuss marketing, how to get more clients. I legitimately talk to him every single day. I'm like, hey, this other agent just said this. What do I do? And because what I want to say is not appropriate to
Yeah.
another agent,
Yeah.
because they just they aren't acting right. And I'm
Yeah.
like, hey, Jeremy, what do I actually say? And he's like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, do this. And it's
Yeah.
super helpful that way. And then so it the classes teach you how to be a legal agent. They don't teach you how to be an agent, a successful agent.
Yeah.
So you have to learn the legalities. And I tell everyone, get through it as fast as you can, because
Yeah.
then you have to get your fingerprints, you have to get your background, and you have to test. And all that takes about 3 months, unless you're a
Wow.
veteran. Yes, unless you're a veteran, then it's pushed faster and it will be done in I had mine within a month. Yeah.
Wow.
Because I'm a veteran. I already have my fingerprints. I already have my background after, my last job I worked with the police station. So I had everything.
Yeah.
But that's not normal for most people. So then
Okay.
you have 3 months to study. So study and
Yeah.
just get through the classes as quick as you can, pass the little test, and then study so you could pass the actual test that matters.
Yeah. How long did you have to study for the actual, is it to get your real estate license?
The state and national test.
Yes.
So like I said, most people after they finish class and they submit, they have 3 months. I could have had as short as a month. The thing was, because I had completely torn every ligament in my knee,
Okay.
I decided to take about 2.5 months to study.
Okay. Which
And
was smart.
you pick when your test is. So I
Okay.
got the approval. I could have taken it the next day. I knew myself and I wasn't ready for that. So
Yeah.
I legitimately was like, okay, and waited 2.5 months. And then I went in like and that worked for me because I was studying all the time. I was still waking up super early, and I was, still studying on my phone at breaks and all of that sort of stuff. It For me, it worked out really well.
Yes. Awesome. Awesome. So let's talk a little bit about what a real estate agent actually do. What do you guys actually do?
Everything. Uh, so we do a lot of marketing. I am constantly, so my ultimate goal is I want, I desire and drive to have you just as successful as I am.
Yeah.
If I could have everyone in the 1%, which obviously wouldn't make it the 1%, but that's not the point,
Yeah.
that's where I would have everyone. Because we all deserve homeownership, we all deserve wealth, we all deserve these things. So we do everything. I spend a lot of time marketing, reaching out to people, educating people about the first time home buyers, all the things we do offer, because there is a whole bunch. And that it's actually possible to be a homeowner now. Like, even if you don't have a savings, it is
Yeah.
possible. And if not, if you have a really low credit score, let me hook
Yeah.
you up with someone that will for free help you with it, type
Yeah.
of thing. So we do that. I do a lot of reaching out to people for that I know are interested in selling or interested in buying. Or if you're not, and I had talked to you before, and you're like, oh, I would really love, my mom's getting older and I would love a mother-in-law quarters. Well, right now I have a seller that's selling her house with the mother-in-law quarters. So I'm going to
Mhm.
reach out to you and be like, hey, uh, are you interested in this? Like, before we go on market. I do a lot of coffee dates with a lot of different professionals. My mentor and I meet once a week. I'm in 3 meetings a week with my broker for training, for just different types of training that's open to everyone in my brokerage. So that's people that have been there 40 years are still allowed to come to the trainings, which is awesome. I do open houses, even if they're not for my own clients. I do them for other other realtors. I do. I go above and beyond for my clients. So if you're selling, I will bring you boxes and tape. I will organize all dump runs. I will organize and be present for dump runs, appraisals, inspections, anything else that requires a stranger at your house. I will be there,
Yeah.
because that's a stranger at your house and you're already stressing with moving and all this sort of stuff. I've even taken clients' dogs to get groomed during an appraisal because they needed to be out,
Yeah.
and we had nowhere else. It's just like, let's schedule a dog appointment. Like, that's great. So we kind of do everything. I'm constantly texting.
Yeah.
Since we've started this, I have 4 text messages right now from
Wow.
different clients, just asking different things between appraisal, between um, contracts, addendums, repair requests, uh, access to the house they're buying. It's kind of
Wow.
everything.
That's a lot. That's a lot. One thing I know about you, even just knowing you personally, but hearing you communicate, your responsibility as a real estate agent, I know that you have a heart to help people, and you really want people to succeed in whatever way you can help them. I love the fact that you talked about getting a dog groom. I love the fact that
Yeah.
you go get boxes for your client because it's stressful. I'm sure it's very
Hmm.
stressful. Let's talk a little bit about, from your observation, what type of stress have you seen people in being a first time home buyer?
So a first-time home buyer, typically people go into it not knowing what to expect.
Hmm.
So I actually have a little cheat sheet that tells you exactly what you should do. And it looks like a Monopoly board, and it tells you what to expect next. A lot of things that people don't realize is that when a realtor says or a lender says, I need this, 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 and this, we need them now. I
Yeah.
need them before close of business. And it could be I need a W 2 from your last two jobs. I need a letter of acceptance from your current job. And I need, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
And I need it now. So I
Okay.
actually have a first time home buyer right now that um, we are going to be out of contract because they took 7 days to turn in an application.
Wow.
And so I have
Wow.
to smooth and kindly work with
Yeah.
the other agent to try to save the deal. And
Yeah.
it's working. But that's like huge stress is like because you, in order to own a home, you have to have a job.
Right.
Well, if I need this now, you're also at work.
Right.
So that's a struggle. Or
Right.
if I need you to right now, I need you right now to pay the appraisal because he's scheduled right now and we are standing on the front porch and he won't go in without payment.
Wow.
And he has another appointment. So I need this done now. And
Yes.
they're like, I'm at work. And I'm like, here's the link. Just go to the bathroom and pay for this freaking appraisal because it needs to happen. And so
Yeah.
it's the quickness. And then all of a sudden, our escrows are typically 30 days. So it's 30 days until you move. All of a sudden it's move time.
Yeah.
And they're
Wow.
like, I'm not ready. You can stay at your current place as long as you want,
Yeah.
but your new place, you have the keys. Like,
Yeah.
can you afford two places? And
Yeah.
typically the answer is no.
Yeah.
So that's a struggle. Or I have another client right now that their daughter is going into high school and their new home is in a different district. So she
Wow.
doesn't want to move at all. So she's
Wow.
cranky and now fighting mom and, not obviously not physically fighting, but being a teenager and being
Yeah.
upset. And so, on top of work, on top of raising two small kids, on top of moving, packing, getting rid of stuff, figuring out how you're going to decorate your new house,
Yeah.
making sure you have enough time to move, she's got a 12-year-old that's angry as goodness.
Yeah.
So that's an additional issue that she does have to face.
Wow. Wow. That's a lot. That's a lot. And that's one reason I want to come on here and have you to speak to this because some of this stuff, honestly, I did not know. I really didn't know, which I think is good. Um, so, what have been your experience with people who wanting to purchase above their financial means?
That's my favorite. Um, I also want to purchase above my financial means. I would
Yeah.
love, 40 acres. And however, today I can't afford that.
Yeah.
So we have to, one of the things I do is whether you've been pre-approved or you're looking to get pre-approved, I sit down with you first and
Hmm.
we talk realistic because I'm sure you would also love, $1 million home with the house cleaner and everything else.
Yeah.
But how life works is the typical person can only afford a $550,000 loan.
Yeah.
And no one, typically, you don't have $600,000 saved on top of that.
Right. Right.
So, we sit down and talk realistic. And something people need to remember is that your first time home, your third, third time home, whatever it is not your forever home.
Yeah.
So you can sell, you can rent it out and get passive income. You do have to wait an extended period of time. And that typically, when you move into a new home, you're going to want to do that anyways.
Yeah.
So, my ultimate goal, like I said, is to own a house in every state. I can't afford that today.
Yeah.
That's just not realistic for me. So, what I do is I'm like, okay, well, let's get a starter home here. Let's start with that. And then I can get a vacation rental or a real rental, whatever, in other states.
Okay.
But we discuss what your starting is. And,
Yes.
if you're like, well, I want to wait till I can afford a $1.5 million home. Okay. Well, what's your goal for that? How are you going to execute this?
Yes.
And it's the, well, I'm going to save money. I don't know many people that will save 1.5 million in their entire life.
No.
It just doesn't happen.
Right.
But if you buy this, $550,000 home today, you're going to build equity in it. You're going to be paying that off. You're paying rent anyways. So you're going to be paying that home off. You're going to keep going. And then you can easily rent it out for passive income to help you with that savings, or you can sell it and use it for the down payment on a more expensive house.
Yes.
So you just kind of we have to talk a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. You talked about down payment and equity. Let's talk a little bit about that. Do you think is smart or wise, or do you encourage people to try and save for a down payment before actually purchasing a home? Or
So it depends on what loan you're after. So there's different ones, and a lender would be able to educate a client much more. So I can just give the basic details. I deal with buildings, lenders deal with money. So there is in California, there is programs that will completely assist with your down payment. And if you decide to sell your house within 5 years, you have to pay it back. If you wait over 5 years, you
oh,
don't. So that's wonderful.
yeah.
There is other programs that assist with a percentage. There's other programs that make your down payment only 3.5%.
Wow.
There's so many programs out there. So whenever someone's like, well, I don't think I can afford a loan. Well, let's sit and talk and be realistic. And then let me put you in connection with my lender.
Yeah.
And everyone's big thing is, well, I have no money saved for a closing cost. So typically, you only need, so you need a 1% to hold the house of whatever the house price is. And then in addition to that, you need to pay inspections and appraisals.
Yeah.
So altogether, you need 1% plus about 2 grand.
Yeah.
That's much more obtainable than saving. That is much more obtainable than saving $1.5 million.
Absolutely. 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 Um, so you shared a lot of good information. I mean, a lot of good information. I think people that watch this that are interested in buying a house, or who are or know someone who's going to buy a house, I think this was very beneficial to them. Let's talk a little bit about the appraisal and inspection. So,
Okay.
what is an appraisal?
So if you have a loan, you are borrowing from a bank or a lender or an entity of someone that is not you. So
Okay.
what that means is that they want to secure their loan. Like they
Right.
want to secure their money. So if you default on your loan, they want to make sure that they could sell the house and get their money's worth. So in order for a loan to be completed, you have to have an appraisal. And your appraisal they're going to check that if you're buying a home for 550,000, it's not worth 300,000. So if you default, they're out $250,000,
Wow.
because they don't want to do that. So if your appraisal does not match what you're purchasing for, your loan will be denied. And then we have to go back to the seller and negotiate the price down.
Wow. Okay, that's
The
good to know.
The inspections, I suggest every person in the world get an inspection on your house, because in an inspection, I know inspectors, so I know what it's about, but it's not my job to go through it and make sure the oven works, which you could easily do as a buyer. What you
Yeah.
can't do is check for termites. What I would not do is crawl under the crawl space and see what's in there.
Yeah.
And they check everything. They check top to bottom. They check pipes. I just learned the other day that people could try to trick and use a PCV pipe for a hot water heater instead of an insulated one, which we found
Wow.
on a house. I
Wow.
have seen houses where the support beam in the attic wasn't strong enough, so they put bricks on top of it. That's
Wow.
that's not safe.
Right.
And if I buy a house and then the roof falls in on my child, there's nothing I can do about it because I chose not to get an inspection.
Yeah.
So I always suggest inspections, whether you're paying cash, loan, money from a friend, get an inspection.
Yeah, that's good. I know someone who had put an offer down on a house about 3 months ago. And when the inspection came, they found a few things, but he was more concerned about, I guess, in the basement, there was a wall and he did not know what was behind the wall. And
Mhm.
he wanted to know what was behind the wall. He felt like it could have been mold, it could have been, rats, whatever. And the seller was not willing to work with him on uh, to help him to knock down a wall to find out what's behind that. So he turned it down and stuff like that, from simpler stuff like that. And I would have never thought to even
Right.
have that frame
So
of mind.
we have, when you get an inspection, you have the right to request for repair or further investigation. Which means the seller also has the right to deny it.
Yeah.
Everyone has their rights. So right now, one of my clients, we are requesting, there is wires hanging under the house. So we are requesting that gets pulled up, and we're requesting the PCV pipe to be turned into an insulated pipe.
Wow.
I've never ever seen a house, including a new build, that does not have something wrong with it,
Yeah.
because it rains while you're building it. There's bugs. I can't prevent bugs. Someone cut the support beam a quarter of an inch too low, so they had to pile more earth under it, or whatever. And so in your friend's case, he can be like, I want to know what's behind that. It
Yeah.
could be a whole room filled with black mold.
Hmm.
And the seller could be like, no, I'm not tearing that wall down to find out. And he could be like, okay, bye. And it's
Yeah.
that simple. And he could be like, it can also be, yeah, we'll do that. We put in for 15 things to be repaired, and the seller's like, I'm not going to do 14 of them.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
then as the buyer, you have the choice. Let's stay or let's not.
Yeah.
Completely up to you.
Yeah. What is the well, let's talk a bit about the bidding war that goes along with this.
Yeah.
Share your most memorable experience of being in a bidding war with clients?
So I have on both sides, the seller and the buyer, bidding war. On the seller, it's always wonderful to get more than the house is worth.
Yeah.
Right. So we ended up getting $48,000 more than the house is worth. This was obviously several months ago when the market was hot. And the problem was, then the house didn't appraise for that much.
Mm.
So then the buyer had to pull out. So we had to go back on market. And then it was a bidding war in general. We just had to keep going back and forth.
Yeah.
The thing with that, though, is if I have a seller that is ready, so I have a seller right now that the day she contacted me, she wanted to move out. She also has 22 years worth of stuff at this house. She's lived there forever, and it's on an acre with 4 bonds. So
Yeah.
I mean, everything, is packed. And so so we had a lot of work to do getting her things out. What do we keep? And she is moving into a senior mobile home. So she's going from a 2,200 square foot house
Wow.
to a 1,200 square foot house.
Wow.
And so we had to downsize a lot. So with her, I was like, are you ready to move now? So we actually are currently in an off market deal, where we never went to market. Well, there was supposed to be no bidding war, but I told a couple of my other realtors, it was like, hey, I got off market deal. She wants to move quick. Let's figure this out. And 2 people came to me with bids.
Wow.
So it's still, we had to work through it. And as a seller's agent, I had to I chose to contact the loan officers and be like, what are they approved for? I need
Right.
to know.
Right.
How quickly can you get this done?
Right.
How much do you have going on? And then we were able to work from there, and we're actually in contract today, and we should be closed in 15 days.
Oh, nice. Very nice. So, in your opinion now, is the market changing? Is it a seller or buyer's market currently?
So a couple months ago it was a seller's, and now it is leveling out. So a
Wow.
couple months ago, it was 100% a bidding war every time. And it was really, really hard to be a buyer's agent because we couldn't, I couldn't outbid other people, especially I work with a lot of veterans because, I'm a veteran myself. And I work with a lot of people from nonprofits because like that are employed by a nonprofit. Because
Yeah.
like I said, I want to help everyone. So we had, they don't have a lot of wiggle room with their price.
Yeah.
So they had to, but now it's leveling out where you put a home on the market for 600,000 and you have to lower the price because
Wow.
no one's bidding on it
Yeah.
because it is, flattening out, which is a positive for buyers. And
Yeah.
sellers are still getting the price of the home.
Yeah.
So they just aren't getting $100,000 over and then having appraisal issues and then going back on the market. And they don't have to worry about all of that.
Yeah. So how long do you anticipate it being a buyer's market? Like another year, 2 years, or?
So honestly, I can't completely anticipate that.
Okay.
Just because price changes, inflation changes, interest changes, all of that.
Yeah.
But I also am a really firm believer in don't wait to buy on a market.
Yeah.
Wait to buy when you're ready.
Yeah.
So if you're ready today, then buy today.
Yeah.
And it may take some time to purchase if it was a seller's market,
Yeah.
or it may be super quick if it's a buyer's market. But if you're ready, don't wait on the market.
Okay. That's good to know. What about people who may be renting a home and they feel like, oh my God, I gotta sign my lease another year, or but I really want to buy a home. I'm indecisive. Like, have you been in a situation like that with a client or?
Very much so, actually. So something people don't realize is that in your lease there is a blurb about if you needed to end your lease early. Almost every single lease that I've ever seen, almost, there was one out of state, but every other lease I've ever seen has a if you need to end your lease, you have to pay for it until someone else rents.
Oh, okay. So that's subleasing, right? Kind of like that.
No.
Oh,
So if you were my landlord and I was to end my lease, and let's say I had to end it in 30 days, right?
right.
I can give you my 30-day notice. And then as soon as I'm out, I have to continue to pay the property. I have to continue to pay you until someone else moves in. So
Um,
I actually did this myself a couple of years ago because my best friend deployed and I took her child on and I didn't have enough room in my current house. So I had to find a new house. And what happened was while I was in my current house, I had the carpets professionally cleaned and provided them with that receipt. I had, upon moving out, I had the entire property professionally cleaned, provided them with that receipt, and I let them do walkthrough showings for potential new tenants while I lived on property. So I would just leave for the day, took all my valuables away, just like if you were a seller showing your house.
yeah,
And then I only had to pay for 2 days
yeah.
because someone moved in within 2 days.
Wow.
So prorate 2 days isn't anything.
No, it's
And
not.
I paid for 2 days and I still got my full deposit back because I out of pocketed the other expenses in advance.
Yeah. And I know they appreciate you getting the house professionally clean, getting the carpets professionally clean and stuff like that. So,
Oh, absolutely. And typically that's something they do to your house when you move out.
right.
So that's why I did it in advance because I personally at the time could not afford to rent two
Yeah.
places at once.
Yeah.
So it was just easier for me to do it that way. And then
Yeah.
it made it really, I paid for 2 days. That's legitimately nothing, especially because I moved into the next place on like the 12th. So that house was prorated also.
Wow, nice. How long does it normally take for you to work with your clients? Like if they was interested in the house, how long does that process normally take from the start to the finish on
So
average?
so it depends on how motivated the seller or the buyer is.
Okay.
So if you come to me already pre-approved, I will meet you on day one. We will discuss everything you want. I will send you a portal that has houses for your criteria. You will like and comment on them, and I will schedule open houses for your next, or I will schedule walkthroughs for your next available date. I've been able to close in as little as 10 days for a cash buyer.
Wow.
Um, Other clients, we can't find their perfect house,
Yeah.
and that happens. So then that's up to them.
Yeah.
Most people honestly come to me not pre-approved
Okay.
because they just don't know where to start.
Right.
And so we meet and then we go over things and we go forward. So it all depends on the client. I had a client come to me with the house they wanted, but not the pre-approval.
Okay.
So we had to speed up that process. And once I write a contract, I typically get a response within 48 hours. So then if we got it, then it's the go, 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 go. With sellers, I've had them come to me with the house ready to list.
Wow.
Perfect. Let me list it, give me 2 days and let's list it. Then I've had sellers, the client that, has lived there for 22 years. She's over 60. She's a veteran. She had double hip surgery. So we've been doing this for 3 months to
Yeah.
get her house ready. She lives on an acre with 4 barns and, 2,200 square feet. We had to hire a lot of people because she can't lift everything.
Right.
I don't lift everything. I'm currently pregnant, so I'm not
Yeah.
lifting anything. I hire people.
Yeah.
And I personally like to hire people that are small businesses, they're veterans, or they're people that are bettering their life. So when in our previous job, I put a lot of people into a local rehab.
Mhm.
And if my seller's okay with it, I will hire the individuals that are doing well and getting ready to get their own place. I will hire them for muscle, and then they will come. We had four of their guys on 4 different days come and empty out all the barns, and they just move it, and that's all they need to do. And the company's already insured, so it's not a problem.
Yeah.
Because I like to help people better themselves.
Yeah.
So it's either way.
Yeah. And I think that's a good strategy or mindset to have, Tony, because you're still, not only are you giving back to the community, but you're giving people a second chance. Because, sometimes people make mistakes, life happens. And when they start to move in the right direction, they need people to sow into them and believe them or believe in them and not hold them hostage to the past, to their past or some of the mistakes that they made. So to me,
Oh,
that's awesome.
well, and absolutely. And like the rehab that I work with, I'm actually really good friends with the director.
Yeah.
So I trust every single person she sends me. And their recovery comes first. So I'll be like, hey, I need lifters. What day can I have 4 guys next week? She'll
Yeah.
be like, well, what time? And I'll tell her, and she'll be like, hey, Wednesday we have nothing scheduled. You could do that. And I'm all, but I need them Tuesday. She's like, absolutely not. They have recovery classes. No. Oh, that's priority. Put your
Right.
recovery first,
Right.
and then give me these guys. And we paid them cash. We paid them at least minimum wage.
Yeah.
And then they don't have vehicles, so I pick them up and drop them off. And then appropriately, I report to the director how much we paid them. And then the director has a policy where they have to give the money to put in their savings account with the director, and they get X amount for fun and all this stuff. And that it works for them. One guy handed him the money the other day, and he goes, "Great, I can pay my phone bill and send some money to my ex-wife for our kid."
That's
I was like,
awesome.
that's wonderful." He's like, "Yeah, I haven't been able to do that in 3 years." I
That's
was like,
awesome.
"Well, great job, bud. Like, that's
Right.
fantastic."
Right. That's awesome. I hope whoever watched this particular segment, I hope that they reach out and utilize that because it really is. When you first told me about that when we met up, I was really thinking about that. I was thinking like, wow, like this is some good stuff because you have a heart and a passion for human services anyway. So
Hmm.
you just incorporating that with what you're doing now. So kudos to you for that.
Well, thank you.
Yes. Escrow. Let's talk a little bit about that. This is the process I don't fully understand. So,
Okay, so when you go into escrow, what that means is that I have written a contract. And I'm going to go from the buyer side just because it's more complicated. So as my buyer client, you found a spot, you found a place you would like, you are pre-approved. We write a contract that says, I want this house. This is how much money I'm going to give you. And I want the fridge, the washer, dryer, all the appliances to
Oh,
be included. And they say, absolutely, yes. As soon as you sign that document that says yes, you're now in escrow. We also, while we're in escrow, we told them how many days we're going to be in escrow. Typically, I do 30 to 45.
okay.
If you have a loan, if you're a cash buyer, you can pick any amount of days you want. But otherwise, it's 30 to 45. And then once you're in escrow, everything has to start very, very, very quickly. And so what happens then is you work with the loan officer and you need to get all of your documents together, your
Oh, wow.
W-2s, your pay stubs, your letter that states you're going to continue to work there, this, that, and another, whatever it is, your bank statement. In addition to all of that, you're working with me. Like I said, I will be on property because people that are getting loans, people that are buying houses, work 40 hours a week. Well, inspections and appraisals also are only open 40 hours a week.
Yeah.
So I have the ability with a flexible schedule to go there.
Yeah.
So I go there and I schedule the inspection. I ask you if you want to be there. Most clients are like, I can't, which is perfect. I'm there the whole time. I schedule the inspection. You have to pay for it. We go and do the inspection. And then I get a report back that says what's wrong. I send that to you and you tell me I want A, B, C, and D fixed. While we're doing that, I schedule the test inspection and the appraisal, or the lender schedules the appraisal. I make sure it happens while I'm there.
Oh, wow.
All of that I send you, and then you say, I want this, that, and this fixed. And I always suggest to my clients that since the market is flattening out, we don't request too much to be fixed.
Yeah.
And if too much needs to be fixed, we need to find another place.
Yeah.
It happens. So I always, termites, all that sort of stuff. Yes, I want that fixed. But I have a house right now that it's missing a baseboard in one of the rooms. Sir, you can go measure and go to Home Depot and put it on yourself. Don't worry about that.
Exactly.
So I'm not going to request that. After appraisal, after inspection, after loan, they're all called contingencies. So after we get all those approved, we say we want A and B. They say A, we accept. Then it goes to now you're in underwriting. And so while you're in underwriting, you're still working with the loan officer and getting everything the loan officer says they need. And they are doing all of that. And then finally, we have to schedule a final walkthrough where we have to walk through the property and make sure you're happy with it all. Make sure that nothing has changed. So if the property is occupied, we actually have to have those people out of the property unless they're doing a rent back where they're like looking for another residence or whatever. Then we have to, but we make sure all their stuff's out and we go walk through and you tell me, yes, I'm happy, everything's good. Fantastic, great. We sign that off. And then you're at closing day. As soon as all the loan stuff's taken care of, I get the key, I meet you there. We do pictures, we do fun stuff, and then you're a homeowner.
Wow. It's a very lengthy process, but it's a very needed process.
Very
sure.
much so.
Yeah. So when you started being a realtor, when you wrote your first contract, was that hard for you, or did you guys kind of use like a template, or how does that work?
So a contract is a lot of pages and it's a lot of fill in the blanks.
Okay.
So for my very first contract, I sat down with my mentor and was like, hey, help me.
Yeah.
Because in the classes, you don't learn to do that.
Right.
My broker did have a class on it, but I still didn't memorize it. So I sat down with my mentor and he helped me fill out every single line. And then when they rebutted, and I sat down with him again and we filled out every line. And still, I've now written several contracts and I still send them to him for review before I
Yeah.
send them off, because you, as a realtor, you can be sued. And I would prefer not to. He's been doing this
Right.
a lot longer than me. So I send it to him and I'm like, hey, and he'll be like, oh, you forgot, something as simple as the zip code there. I Googled it. There's two addresses in, in Citrus Heights in two different states. So you might want to put that state and zip code. And I'm like, oh, I wouldn't
Yeah.
have thought of that.
Yeah.
So it's very easy, simple things like that. It was very ridiculous the first time because there was just so much, but
Yeah.
it's the car, our Association of Realtors. They made it very, very California Association of Realtors. They made it really easy. And so, like, if you click the box that says this is a modular home, then the modular home forms to go with it gets added to the file. So you
Nice.
just go to that one next, and then you can fill that out.
Nice. Very nice. So if you wanted to, would you have the option of hiring somebody within the real estate firm to write the contracts for you, or that's your responsibility?
So as a realtor, the contracts themselves are the realtor's responsibility.
Okay.
I can technically team up with another realtor,
Okay.
but then I wouldn't be the primary, so I wouldn't get paid.
Right.
Because I don't get paid till the buyer gets the keys to the house. I do, however, hire a transaction coordinator that I pay out of pocket, and their job, I have a team, my broker has a team. Their job is to, after I write the contract, to do all of the paperwork involved and make sure everyone signs it, make sure that I am legally correct.
Okay.
So after, I send a request for repair, I send it to my client to sign. I send it to the listing agent to have their client signed, and I send it to my transaction coordinator for them to file and confirm.
That's awesome.
So the listing agent can't say, I didn't get that.
Yeah.
Well, my transaction coordinator has it on file that you did.
Right.
So you should probably figure that out. And then the transaction coordinator also files with the county who the new owner is, who the loan is through, how much the house sold for, all of that sort of stuff.
Awesome. Awesome. Let's talk about the benefits of being a realtor or a real estate agent. So before that, is it a difference between a realtor and a real estate agent? I can't hear you.
Is that better?
Yes.
Oh, no, I can't hear you. Hold on one second. There we go.
Okay.
They're perfect. Sorry. So there is a difference between a realtor and a real estate agent. A realtor is someone that pays into the National Association of Realtors, which is called NAR, and we pay monthly. We are required more training, and we are actually held to a higher standard. Real estate agent does not pay into that, and they don't get the extra training.
Okay.
And then they are held to a normal standard.
Okay. Okay. Now okay, that's good to know. Okay. What are the benefits, Tony, of being a realtor or a real estate agent, just on a personal level, or just?
So my personal experience is that my time's much more flexible. I don't clock in 9 to 5. I clock in much longer, but that's not the point.
Yeah.
And I'm able, so I have a stepdaughter that's 11. She's on summer break right now. So she is able to come with me to almost everything. If I have a client meeting, I go to my office. She has a back room that she hangs out and plays on her tablet. I'm currently pregnant, so if I'm not feeling well, I don't have to call in. I can honestly lay in my bed and work from my bed for the day. If I have a family function, if I have a family member pass, I make my own schedule. So I can, tell my clients, hey, I've had a family emergency. I'm going to be available by phone today. I have someone else going to your appraisal. It's another realtor that I trust greatly. Typically, it's my mentor. He's on his way there now, and he will report everything back to me. So I'm much more flexible. I plan on, once my son is born, bringing him to most of the things too. Is of course, as long as he's not colicky. For showings, my 11-year-old, I have her meet. I don't have her meet me. I go there prior to the client showing up. Her job is to turn on all lights, open all doors, unlock everything, and then she goes and hangs out wherever. And when my clients walk in, I have a rapport with them. I've been working with them really well, so I'll be like, oh yep, this is my assistant, this is my daughter, I pay her in candy. It works out
Nice.
great. So it's
Nice.
nice to be able to have, and a lot of times I'll meet other realtors and their kids are there too. So I'm like, hey, go play, like
Yeah.
stay where I can see you type of thing. For open houses, I bring both my husband and my daughter, because I am I am a female in a house all by myself with
Yes.
strangers coming in. So I bring my husband. He hangs out. My daughter's job, once again, turn on all the lights, unlock all the doors, find anything cool. We did an open house the other day where there was a secret room. So she found that really cool. Her favorite thing right now is anti-slam drawers in the kitchen.
Yeah.
So she always checks that, and to put out my business cards everywhere. And then she hangs out, she greets people. Like I have, as a realtor, I have the ability to not have daycare. I have
Yes.
the ability to not leave my child at home. I have the ability to, my grandma fell one time and I was like, I'm on my way. Closed the computer, went to do that, and we're good. Like
Nice.
it's the flexibility that's worth it.
Nice. Nice. That's kind of what I wanted you to speak to, the flexibility. The commission. Now let's talk a bit about that. How do you normally earn your commission? Because earlier I heard you say you don't get paid until you get that key in your hand.
Right.
Or the buyer
So
gets the key in their hand. I'm sorry.
correct. So the commission is actually, there's no set commission ever. Typical commission, so all commission is paid by the seller. The buyers do not pay for that. Typical commission is 3%. Well, typical commission in our area is 3% for the buyer and 3% for the seller. So the agents. So it's 3% of the whatever the price sells for.
Yeah.
And then, however, I personally do a heroes program. And so our heroes program, I assist, I'm able to, for sellers, if you are a veteran, anyone that's worked ever, a veteran, anyone that's ever worked in a police station, a fire station, a hospital, or a school, if you sell with me, I will give you 0.5% off my seller's commission.
Wow.
If you are any of those and you are buying with me, I give you up to 20% back in my commission to help with your closing costs.
That's awesome.
So they because those people should be rewarded. Those people have really hard jobs.
Yeah.
But some people, when the market is extremely a seller's market, the seller can choose to not give a commission.
Yeah.
Well, to the buyer. The problem with that is that I only make money when I close a deal. So
Yeah.
once the buyer has keys in the hand, no matter whose side I'm on. So that could easily mean that I do 30 days worth of work and don't get paid for it.
Wow. Yeah. Wow. Okay. Um, are you able to sell houses or real estate all over the state of California or just in your local area?
So I could get it's called MLS. That's where all of our on market listings are. And I could pay about $300 a month to get one in every area in California. But I don't want to, because I feel that the services I provide you, I should be able to be there for everything. And I'm not flying down to San Diego to show up for an inspection for 2 hours and flying home.
Yeah.
So I'm currently able to service Placer County, Sacramento County, El Dorado County, are my 3 main ones. However, say, you see this, you're like, you're fantastic, awesome, I want to buy in San Diego. I have realtor friends in San Diego. And so I will be like, oh, let me have you talk to so-and-so and make sure you get the best service possible. And I will continuously follow up with both you and that realtor so we can make sure that you get the same thing. That works if you also want to buy in New York. I have a client right now that's relocating to California for work from New York. And so I'm also helping them find a seller's agent in New York for that house.
Nice, nice. Well, Tony, guess what? We've run out of time. It goes so quick.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, it goes quick. But before we go, I want you to share your information as to how people can find you if somebody wants to reach out to you.
Absolutely. So you can either follow me on Facebook or Instagram. It is Realtor Toni, TONIM, as in Mike. And then on my phone number, you can call me, text me, is 916-670-5420. Or I accept emails too, and it's the same as my handles on social media. So it's realtortonym@gmail.com.
All right, Toni, thank you so much for sharing your wealth of information and walking us through the home buying process. And we would definitely, you and I would definitely connect again soon outside of the show. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me on.
Okay, you're welcome. And that's it for today's edition of Mental Health Matters. If you enjoyed this particular show, if you would like a copy of this show, or if you would like to be a guest on our show, please dial 916-366-4600. Thank you.